In the studio, I promise you have brought two of the most influential people in sports sponsorship, especially in the local sporting scene. And to my immediate left is one man that goes by the name Kester Shimonyo, is the Chief Marketing Officer of Sportpesa. Kester is one of two people that I know go by that name, Kester. The other one is Kester Emenea, the Congolese music maestro, but who is not with us now. But I don't know, any relationship with the Kester Emenea?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
You are purely in marketing and sports and whatever?
Yes.
Okay. To my extreme left is Agri Obilenyi, the business development manager, Frontiers East Africa. Gentlemen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Is this the first time you're coming to KTN, Kester?
Not really. I've been here severally when we are coming to do our draws for the winners and so forth. And also I've been here before discussing matter sport. Yes.
Of course, Obilenyi, we were with you last week here talking about the ground Sportpesa and Frontiers East Africa is breaking in local sponsorship. Gentlemen, you must have watched matches over the weekend. What really interested you?
Unfortunately, I didn't. Actually, I've been. We just came from the trip in South Africa, and then I had another one to Naivasha. So I didn't have enough time to actually sit down and watch the games.
Did you catch?
Yeah, for me, what stood out for me is Sunderland's victory over the big giants, Red Devils. I think it has been quite some time for some Allardyce to beat Manchester United, and you saw the kind of the pressing game that they adopted playing against Manchester United, and I think it paid off at the end of the day. And of course, last evening you saw what Arsenal did, keeping on pressing, and I have to give credit to Leicester. I think when you look at the money involved, the squad for Arsenal and the squad for Leicester, it's a big disparity, but you could not even tell the difference. And even after going down one man, they still actually showed a lot of character.
Sportpesa is in everyone's lip. You go to any place in town, every corner of this country. What is this all about, Sportpesa and betting and all this craze, Kester?
I think betting is a new phenomenon in Kenya. Sportpesa itself celebrated second year last week. Yeah. But the craze that is associated with the betting is that it's something that people used to do without a formal player in between. Yeah, you'd find that people would go watch a match and then decide who's going to win and place money informally. So when Sportpesa came and covered that bit, then I think we're just enhancing a craze that was there before. What has actually connected us to the public is the fact that we are genuinely out to try and transform sports. And we started with soccer, which we've done for about 6 months now, from August. Yeah, and slowly we are trying to see how we can go into other sports. But
somehow you have Frontiers East Africa coming in and helping out, see how you can take part in sponsorship, especially in local sport. How did you get into this marriage, Agri?
It's always about identifying what the common attributes between two parties, and I've always said this, that you need to strike a balance between what a brand stands for in terms of their vision. They stand for a lot of efficiency in terms of sport. When you win your bet on a particular game, I think it takes around 5 or less minutes to get your money. So, and we were looking at a league that is efficient enough to become the best on the continent by 2019. And when we looked at these attributes and put together, I think it made a very reasonable sense to be together.
At the moment, you are sponsoring, you are the title sponsors of the Kenyan Premier League. Now we call it Sportpesa Premier League. How is it working out?
There's a lot to be done. We've done a bit in the 4 months of sponsorship from August to around December, and now we are resuming into the new league. But we see there's a lot of need as far as security is concerned. So we are going to invest very heavily in security. There's a great need in player welfare. Yeah, most of the clubs don't have sponsors, so apart from being titled sponsors, we are thinking of actually other ways that we can assist the teams directly. So there's a lot. We've done a bit, and I think that's why we were recognized in the recently, but we still believe there's a lot more that needs to be done.
You talk about player welfare, and that has been the question. We receive calls here asking us really, how does it work, Sportpesa and the Kenyan Premier League? There's always the hue and cry that not all the money is going to where it should be, that is the players. How is it working out? What is going directly to the clubs to get to the players?
What I would say is the money that we give to the league organizers, which is KPL, can never be enough to sustain the teams. So we give the money to KPL, KPL gives to the clubs. But then we think the most sustainable way of supporting the clubs is to make sure that those stadiums are full. So other than the sponsorship money, we are looking at which other alternative ways can the clubs make their own money. So again, we are going to look into things like fan-based recruitment. Once you take care of things like security, someone can go to the stadium with the family, then we'll fill the stadiums. And we believe from that revenue, from filling the stadiums, attracting sponsors, then we'll have a more sustainable solution than the money from sponsorship.
Frontiers East Africa is a link now between Sportpesa and the Kenyan Premier League. Agri, what would you say are some of the successes within this short period that you've associated Sportpesa and the Kenyan Premier League?
You have to look at the new re-energized spirit amongst the players, and you can even see that this past weekend alone, you saw the players going all out to actually play an entertaining game, because they know that at the top, very top, they have a partner that is looking into their welfare. You could actually see that we want to standardize how even the branding is done. If you look around the stadiums in terms of beachside branding, it is now coming to up to standard, because we noticed that it was really less exploited. But looking ahead, you have to look out for a better league in terms of the investment that is coming in. You remember last week when I was talking about more and more investment coming through, and this will ensure that we have quality players, and at the grassroots level, because they are also talking about Sportpesa Super 8. This means that more and more grassroots talent will be generated and plowed into the league, and this is we need to see more of our local talent being exported out there into the top leagues.
Before we talk about this weapon, I don't know, you came with it into the studio. You'll have to tell us more about this. I don't know what it is, but then you'll tell your viewers. You last week, or is it about 10 days ago, you signed a deal with Arsenal, England's one of the best teams in England, actually the whole world. What does that mean? You know, is it that Sportpesa, you've really grown that big and suddenly you are even going international before you even exhausted the Kenyan market?
Actually, it is a form of benchmark. When we talk about anything, improving anything in the local league, I think if you benchmark against a club like Arsenal, then it works very well. And so when we talk about security, we intend to have the security officials from Arsenal to come and actually work with our people. We're looking at things like talent development. We'll have a lot of coaches coming over, conducting training camps every so often. There's so much that we are going to do together. But the whole idea is just to see how else we can improve the general welfare of the sport, and how else can we profile and make it more prestigious once again. I'm sure one day if we have Arsenal to come play with East African best at Kasarani or somewhere, then sporting or soccer in this country will never be the same. It will receive the focus that it deserves, and that's the kind of direction that we are looking at in the long term.
Frontiers East Africa would really want to have every resource that Sportpesa has to plow it into the local market. Did you feel maybe jilted that Sportpesa have gone to England to deal with Arsenal also?
Absolutely not. In fact, it makes us even more confident that the corporate sector is finally coming to where we have been always dreaming to be. And the more they get involved into the sport, the more actually it makes more sense for our business, because it means that other corporates will have somewhere to reference. And if someone wants to actually invest in sport, they can actually use some form of blueprint that these guys are coming up with to say, okay, fine, we are plowing in our money. What is our return on investment like?
I'm told that we don't have much time because of other programs coming up. But then just quickly, Kester,
yes.
You've signed a deal with AFC Leopards and also Gor Mahia.
Yes.
Yet you are the title sponsors of the Kenyan Premier League. How does that work? And isn't there some conflict of interest?
There is no conflict per se. It's in fact, a good example I would give is probably the previous league sponsor was sponsored the league and still had a team that they owned. Ours is different. We are the league sponsors, but we are not really owning these teams. We are looking at ways of supporting them so that the league is more exciting. And like I said, we started with the two, AFC Leopards and Gor, but depending on how it works out, we might actually spread that to any other team that is suffering, because we didn't want to sponsor a league that is a shell. You have teams but that can't play. Yes.
Thank you very much. I don't have much time, but then I'm sorry that I haven't talked about this trophy, but just in a nutshell, what is this trophy all about in a sentence?
Basically, this trophy is I think a hallmark of Sportpesa's investment into the sport in the last 6 or 7 months. And this is called a Discovery Sport Industry Awards, Africa's biggest actually sporting awards on the continent. So they had lined up against our very own Safaricom, DHL. They had sponsored something called Africa's One, and some other golf tournament in Mauritius. So it was a collection of 6 of the best African sponsorships, and you can imagine that we came out on top.
There you have it. You are in safe hands. If you are a football fan or a sports fan, Sportpesa have come into the local scene and they are going places. They've won trophies. Right, we have one right in front of us, which they won in South Africa. Until next week, where we will also have an opportunity to do all this with our guests. Thank you very much for coming through and explain to us what Sportpesa is doing in local sports. Until next week, I've been your presenter, Robin Toskin.